Hello. So my name is Karina. I'm from Imagen, from Reuters Imagen, and I'm so thrilled to be here again this year. This year with our newest partner, Esports World Cup Foundation, and Christian Peer.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. I have to say, I'm coming from a traditional background. I'm not an esports guy, but I was brought into the Esports World Cup Foundation last year, and to bring some, call it traditional sports expertise into the Esports World Cup Foundation. Quick question to the audience. I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but who of you is into esports, or who of you knows about the Esports World Cup? Just raise your hand. All right, that's about 20% maybe, which is great because it shows that we have a long way to go. The Esports Foundation was created to enable the growth of esports, and our long-term vision is to turn it into the leading sport globally. That sounds like a bold statement, but when you look at the demographic that we have all the kids playing games. We have 1.9 billion gamers in the world. Some of you may play Candy Crush on your phone. That also counts you in as a gamer. So when I joined the Esports World Cup Foundation, I looked at the way they produce it, and I had no idea, so I stayed right away from this part. And then I looked at how we distribute content and how we store content and how we create our storytelling, which honestly shocked me in a way because there was no such thing as an archive around the Esports World Cup. Now, to give it a bit of scale, we have 25 tournaments within the Esports World Cup, which is a 7-week-long event. In that we have 2,500 athletes that participate and over 200 clubs from around the world. So when we looked at storytelling and content and its storage, we found a massive gap in order to be able to distribute all this content to our takers. And our takers are your linear broadcasters, but primarily co-streamers, casters, and quite the opposite of what we heard this morning on the panel. We don't have a content issue, we had a content efficiency and storage issue. And this is where we partnered with Imagen on creating our media lobby, which really boosted our way of operating.
Great, thank you. So, I mean, that's very interesting. I think, I guess I didn't consider myself a gamer, but I play Wordle, so I guess now I'm one of the 1.9. So that's interesting. So Imagen came in, you also had worked with Imagen before, and so we came in, we were able to kind of support on the archive front, but then I think as we were discussing and developing and learning more about each other and what we were able to provide for you and what your problems were that you were looking to solution, we started to talk about this live element, right? I think maybe one thing that would be interesting to hear about from you would be, first of all, maybe like a visualization of how do these games take place, and then how live was able to really catapult your goals or help you achieve those goals.
So what's a little bit crazy about esports is that we are operating in a 12-hour-long feed environment, which was totally new to me. So think about any sports league out there, you get a full match coverage, which is one single match. In our case, we have 12 hours of live, which could be on one game title, 20 individual matches or just 4 matches. But the feeds are extremely long, and that helps us grow our audience numbers on YouTube, which is one of our primary distribution methods, and also on Twitch. So one of our challenges was, how do we actually make this content searchable? Our editorial teams, our marketing teams, the whole of post-production, which is around 200 people, production overall 1,600 people, had issues in accessing the content in time to be out there in social media before somebody else is. We're working with 4,000 co-streamers. That could be a publisher, but then your influencers and individuals in the living room that are taking our feed and basically voicing it over. So in order to be the first one, we needed to create a massive efficiency. And Imagen helped us this time around heavily on this one because we were able to ingest all our live feeds into Imagen and not only clip them up in single titles per game. We wrote an API together that ingested all the game data to that. And lastly, we were able, which is new, to store that file instantly on Imagen. Previously, you had to download the whole file to operate on it. Now we were able to actually keep it on the platform. So all around the world, every club, every player, all our takers had instant access to live content, which really took this whole thing to a new level.
Yeah, so I mean, I think just to give a sense of scale, and these are just the numbers that it sounds like we were able to help achieve. First of all, we were able to ingest since July more than 2,000 hours of live content, and that was able to service more than 600 partners, right, that you have, as well as more than, let me see, hold on, because I wrote it down. 157 organizations. We saw 13,000 downloads throughout the tournament. I mean, it's just an immense amount of activity that was able to bring that content globally all over the to your audience. From the perspective of the final end user, do you feel that it also was able to support that goal, right, to be the largest?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned some interesting numbers. The numbers that are more interesting to me are the actual results. So we had over 250% of increase on our social channels. So we had over 8 billion impressions, 800 million engagements. Our live hours grew drastically as well, the programming around it as well. So we had 750 million viewers across the globe across those 7 weeks, and we had over 400 million hours watched on our programs. So it really helped us to organize it. I think we are only at the starting phase. Just to give you a fun fact, we had to create this naming convention because nobody in esports is actually used to proper file naming at that scale because of so many titles. And we created this tool for all our editors and production teams, and you had 3.8 billion unique possibilities of what a file name could be. That again shows how much this event brings in terms of content. So we are quite the opposite to traditional leagues and broadcasters who struggle with content. We have way too much content and we struggle to save its story to make it searchable. So going forward, I believe where we need to focus on, also given that we're launching the Esports Nations Cup next year, we really need to focus on creating even easier access than we do now, organizing it in a better way. We truly believe that Imagen is the right partner. And I think we've built something pretty substantial in a 2-month time span, really. And now it's about organizing it for future proof. The beauty in Saudi Arabia is that we never hit the goal. We always push the boundaries. So even though we've way succeeded our numbers and our expectation this year, those lines have now been shifted. So next year we have to do even more. And therefore, having someone like Imagen that helps us organize all of this and really changes the mindset on how esports operates was pretty phenomenal.
That's great. Thank you so much. And so when you're looking at the future, so okay, you've mentioned the Nations Cup, which is awesome. So that's going to be for next year. So as we know, this year was the World Cup. Well, the Esports World Cup. And then next year will be the Nations Cup. What else do you see? How else do you see this evolving in the future to achieve this goal of being the #1 esport?
So as a rule, we are not holding back information to the community. So I believe we can set certain benchmarks across the industry, which we then want to share with all the publishers, all the promoters. We are a non-profit organization. We're here to grow esports and to enable esports to become a globally leading sport. I always came in saying, I believe we need to turn it mainstream. If you look at the numbers, esports is as mainstream as it can get, but we are not yet at that global recognition, and this is what we're aiming for. And that is not only us, that's the entire ecosystem that needs to move alongside us.
Well, thank you so much. It's been really a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you.